Hi everyone, it's Nathan again, and today my informative speech is going to be on a topic that I hold very near and dear to my heart, and that is preventative maintenance of some of the appliances within your home. Now, I am a appliance technician for Sears, so I go into people's homes and repair appliances and do these preventative maintenance checks very often, nearly daily. So I'm pretty good at them, and I like to count myself as a subject matter expert when it comes to most appliances. So first we're going to talk about your washers. Now, your washer machines are prone to flooding. For instance, if your hoses crack or your machine gets a leak through the pump, or you let something slip through your pockets, and say if you have a front loader, you got the door gasket that is inside the front door that's just rubber. And it's very easy for things like pens, needles, and things like that to poke holes through it, which then can cause a pretty massive leak in your machine. So, preventative maintenance for your washer entails you should once a year you should check your hoses from where they come in from the water supply to your unit. You make sure the hoses are sealed tightly, that you're not getting any water from either end. It's also a good habit to cut off the power, disconnect the hoses, and check your gaskets on the inside. There's little black gaskets in each one of the hoses, and what that does is it allows the hose to make a proper seal, sealing the unit. That way, it is a sealed system, and sealed system per se, where you have no water leaking out. Um, you also then want to put the unit into just a spin mode or a spin mode by itself. Usually rinse and spin is a great one because what it does is it simulates an entire load of laundry minus all the initial steps in it. It's going to fill with water so there you can test and ensure your hot water is coming in and your cold water is coming in. And at the same time, you're just going to be able to test your pump. Now, this is what you're really looking for, is to make sure that your pump, with all the water that it puts in there, that it fully pumps out all the water out of your machine, okay? You should be able to look inside the basket or inside the tub, whether you have a front loader or top loader, and you should not see any water inside, okay? You need to ensure that everything drains out. For any reason that your pump's not working like it's supposed to, you should, call for a service technician. Or if you find yourself pretty handy yourself, there are lots of videos on YouTube that can show you how to replace these types of products. You should also check, for instance, you have two types of motors generally. You have a belt-driven motor, or you have a rotor-stator combo, which uses electromagnetic power to rotate and spin the machine. You should check these components every once a year, and mostly on your belt-driven, you should check your belt. What you're looking for is, just like you would a car or a vacuum cleaner or anything like that, you're looking for any cracks, tears, or fraying inside your belt. This should be replaced sooner the better. That way you don't have to be without your washer and dryer. Because let me tell you, I see customers consistently without a washer, and this, I mean, you don't realize how important it is until you don't have it anymore. Right? And you should also check your shocks and your suspension. When you're washing your clothes, if things are loaded correctly in your front loader or top loader, your basket shouldn't be going everywhere. It should stay relatively centered, and you may have some movement with some of your heavier loads like jeans or towels, but it should just be shouldn't be going crazy on you. Your dead machine definitely shouldn't be walking across. Other than that, you just want to do a few simple things. You want to ensure that your machine is level. And you also want to open up the door, especially for those front loaders, and you want to clean that door boot. All right, what happens is a lot of mildew and mold can build up on there, especially in humid areas like where I live here in Washington. It's a good practice to wipe out after every load and then leave the door cracked open so you get good air and circulation so the machine breathes, and it helps prevent that mold and mildew buildup within your unit. The next we're going to talk about is we're going to look at dryers. So dryers are particularly important when it comes to appliances in the home because the U.S. Fire Administration says there's about 29,000 fires a year resulting from dryer fires, dryer vent fires, with at least 5 deaths per year resulted in that, and $35 million in property loss, which is an extensive amount of money if you ask me. I don't have millions of dollars just for my stuff to burn up for something that could easily be taken care of. So what you want to do, the most important thing you want to do is most dryers have some type of access panel. A lot of your dryers have an access panel on the bottom. If not, most of them are fairly easy to take apart. You can watch a simple YouTube video. And what you want to do is you want to pull the unit apart. And you want to vacuum out the lint and stuff that builds up on the unit and sits on top of your heating element. And what happens is over time with enough heating element, with enough lint on your heating element, it catches fire. Now what happens is not the lint inside the cabinet itself catching fire that causes the issue. What causes the issue is all that extra heat when it does catch fire inside tends to catch the lint that's inside the air ducting on fire as well, and that's where the real fire comes into problem. When it goes through the venting, which usually runs through your house. Most people don't have a straight shot outside. It's usually some underneath or through the house through the ducting, and then this can start a fire in your home, and it can be very dangerous and very serious. So after you do that, what you want to do is you want to ensure that your blower wheel turns without any, you should be able to spin the inside of your machine, the dryer, and it should tumble freely and move well. While you're there, you also want to check your rollers and glides. Now these help the machine spin freely, and you want to make sure that there's no squeaking or that the wheels shouldn't get any thumping as it's turning. It shouldn't be going thud 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 thud. If so, you usually have an unevenly worn wheel that can be easily replaced to make the unit quieter, and it makes sure that the drum continues to turn at the correct RPMs, because it's a good combination of not just heat, but a good combination of airflow that allows a dryer to dry clothes. If for any reason you restricted your airflow, you would notice extremely longer increased dry times, where you might have to dry something 2 or 3 times, or 2 or 3 cycles to ensure that it's completely dry. But with proper venting and ventilation and heat, you'll make sure it should dry in 1 cycle. So you want to make sure that you check your belt as well. Just like the washer, you want to check that belt, which is the key linchpin in making the drum tumble. You want to ensure that it's not cracked, frayed, splitting. You make sure it's in good working condition. Okay, if for any reason you start to see any damage, I would highly suggest you replace it quickly. That way you don't have to be down and without your dryer. Another appliance that we're going to talk about here is your refrigerators. Now, refrigerators are very important to a household, mostly because there's usually somewhere between $300 to $500 worth of food if for any reason something happens to your refrigerator that can spoil, which is more money than most people have to spend on groceries at any one time. So what you want to do, the biggest thing you can do to extend the life of your refrigerator is you're going to pull your refrigerator out, and underneath the bottom, or some units is through the front on a little panel, you clean off your condenser coils. Now what these condenser coils do is refrigeration is not really a cooling process as it actually is a removal of heat. So your refrigerant travels through your machine and it pulls heat out of the walls, the cabinet, the air, and it takes it and it comes back down through the condenser coils. Now what happens is there's a fan down there on most models that blows across the condenser coils to remove that excess heat that is pulling away from everything. So what happens is if you have a lot of lint and dust and pet hair and everything built up on your condenser coils, imagine yourself running a marathon. You're in Jamaica or somewhere really nice and warm, Florida or something, and you decide to put on a big old jacket. How well do you think you'll be able to run? At the same point, you need to look at how well your refrigerator will be able to run. So you clean off this condenser coils that allows your refrigerant to properly remove and expel that heat like it's supposed to. What you also want to do is you want to check your door seals around your refrigerator, and you want to ensure that they are not cracked or splitting and that they have some air to them. You should be able to squeeze your gasket, and it should bounce back slowly a little bit. That is what helps the refrigerator seal to make it airtight. Because if your gaskets aren't sealing, you may notice stuff inside your freezer like a nice frosty buildup on the inside. And what that is that's air leaking into your cabinet, bringing in moisture. And you want to prevent that. That prevents some of your foods from freezer burn and things like that. So, and you can also lube these gaskets. You also want to defrost your machine periodically. Now, most machines either have a mechanical defrost cycle or they have an adaptive controlled defrost cycle. Now, both of these, the mechanical purely goes based on time, set amount of time, every 6 hours, every 8 hours, depending on the model. Now, an adaptive controlled defrost, what that does is that defrosts based on your usage. So, if you're in your fridge a lot, in and out, it might decide to defrost every 4 hours, and that's the defrost what's inside the evaporator, which is what is where it cools, or you could say where the most removing of heat is, and so it gets really cold, and then fan cycles that air throughout your refrigerator and your freezer. So you just want to be sure that everything is taken care of correctly, and this will just extend the life. It'll greatly extend the life of your appliances because these days, appliances don't last as long as they used to. They're just not made the same. They're made cheaper. I mean, they're still good, but most typically you can expect to get 10 to 13 years out of most of your appliances before they need some type of major repair. I hope what I've given you is will give you a good insight on how to maintain your appliances. And I hope you guys have a great day, and look forward to seeing everyone else's speeches. Bye.